I actually wanted to go back up the mountain. Apparently there were 3 black women up there that I wanted to meet. And maybe they were having me on with that, I don't know. But anyway, apparently they had to pull me down the mountain like a bull that doesn't want to be castrated. You know, I just didn't want to come down. And then there was the Kanchung Face, the biggest cliff in the world. So I was trying to jump off the Kanchung Face. And, I mean, why wouldn't you? Biggest cliff in the world, don't get there very often. Anyway, the Sherpas, I mean, we had a 19-hour day that day. And it wasn't just your average 19-hour day of struggling down the mountain. It was a 19-hour day of me trying to go up and trying to jump off, and the Sherpas trying to drag me down. Luckily, I don't remember most of that. It must have really hurt. But I know, and I shouldn't laugh because it was the Sherpas who was hurting. I was just off with the fairies. But what did happen was I did come into lucidity at the hardest part of descent, the hardest part of the descent. And I think that probably came from my 30 years of mountaineering, from those lessons of 30 years, where the instinct kicks in when it needs to. And that instinct said to me, you've got to pay attention here, Lincoln, because the Sherpas aren't going to be able to get you down. You're going to have to do it yourself. And so I started abseiling down this 30-metre cliff. But instead of it taking 20 minutes, as what it should have happened, it took over 2 hours. Admittedly, part of that I was sleeping. But then they managed to rouse me, and suddenly I started abseiling again. And I slammed down into Pemba and whacked him with my crampons. Crampons are these big spiky things you strap onto your climbing boots so your feet don't slip in the ice. And I got him in the thigh, and I didn't know this till well afterwards. So Pemba was injured. But, and then I swung back and grabbed onto some rock, thinking, oh, you know, and then not wanting to be there. I don't want to be here, I don't want to be here. And then I found that I wasn't there. What I found was that I was 10 metres away in the space up at that sort of angle. And I could look down and I could see the back of me on the cliff where I was hanging on to. And it was really frightening because when you get 10 metres out from the mountain, you got so much more air beneath your feet. But I didn't want to go back to where that guy was on the rock. But I didn't have any choice because suddenly there I was on the rock. And I swung down and that sort of surge of adrenaline kept me going for probably another 20 minutes, half an hour time. I couldn't measure it. But it came to a point, the Sherpas were dragging me. At one point I decided to crawl because it was easier to crawl and get up again and fall down. And in the end it came to a point where I couldn't move. And Pemba said to me, Lincoln, you have to spend the night here. And I thought, well, no way. No way. But unfortunately, I was so far gone that I couldn't even speak. I couldn't say, well, actually, Pemba, no, I don't think I'll spend the night here. What I'll do is I'll have a little rest and then I'll go down some more. Because that has been the recipe I've always applied on other mountains when I thought, oh, geez, I just can't take another step. Then have a little rest, you get down another 50 metres, 100 metres, 200 metres if you're lucky, and then you'd think, oh, I can't take another step. Well, this time I couldn't take another step. So I was right, but I couldn't tell Pemba that. So my last memories of that day were the setting of the sun. And meanwhile, the Sherpas watched my vital signs leave my body. My breath slowed to nothing. They couldn't feel my pulse. One of them poked me in the eye, no response. I mean, if you try that in the bar afterwards, it might work for you, but it doesn't work on Everest. And anyway, they were sure I was dead, and so they radioed Alex at base camp. 2 hours later, there were still no signs of life from me, and Alex told the Sherpas to leave me to save themselves. That was the order that Alex gave them, and so they headed on down. So now I was alone on the mountain, alone with the other bodies, and everybody was told that I was dead.